Hi, this is Keitric Starks, and you're watching The Beauty Block.
Hi, welcome Keitric. It's a pleasure to have you here at Julian's Cosmetics, The Beauty Block.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Julian, here at The Beauty Block. I'm so excited.
Good. We've been trying to get you in store for the longest, so we're super excited to have you here today. All right, so we want to start off. I want to know about you. Tell me about where you're from, how long you've been in Atlanta.
Goodness. Okay. Originally from Dallas, Texas. I'm actually from a place called Arlington, which was between Dallas and Fort Worth. I've been here in Atlanta now for about 20 years. I've been doing makeup for about 20 years. I've been working in the film and television industry for about 10 of those years.
Oh, excellent, excellent. What brought you to Atlanta?
I originally moved to Atlanta just wanting something new, you know, working in the industry. I went to school for cosmetology, so I started out as a hairstylist and makeup artist there in Texas, and so I thought I would move here for more opportunities, you know. Here in Atlanta, back in the dark ages, you know, we were known for the music capital, you know, now we're the movie capital. But anyway, so I moved here thinking I was going to, you know, do videos and that kind of thing, you know. I was, you know, that was my goal originally when I moved here to Atlanta.
Okay. So tell me, at what age did you fall in love with beauty or with the beauty industry?
So I first fell in love with the beauty industry out of the womb. You know, I think, you know, it's always been an aesthetic thing for me. I've always, you know, loved beauty. I'm a modelizer from back in the 90s, okay? If you grew up in the 90s, then you can't help but be a modelizer, you know. Those women like Naomi Campbell and Cindy Crawford, you know, Chrissy Turlington, those women really influenced so much about style and, you know, and what we see as aesthetically pleasing, you know, and the people who made those images. So Kevin Aquan, you know, Sam Fine, you know, those people who really helped to mold Billy B, those people who really helped to mold the industry in that way and create this idea of hyper glamour, you know, but that was done in a way that was still feminine, you know, and so I think I've been a modelizer from way back in the 90s, and I certainly fell in love with beauty at that point, and it's always been part of my life.
Good. So, do you remember your first cosmetics or beauty job?
When I was on my 20th birthday, I decided to go and see Patti LaBelle, who was making a personal appearance at Cumberland Mall. Okay, I'm a huge Patti fan, love her to death, right? So I get there are all these people lined up, everybody's waiting to do their thing, you know. Me being from little podunk town, not understanding that this is a cosmetic event, really is what it is. So Patti LaBelle had at that time, through Floyd Roberts Cosmetics, which is now defunct, unfortunately, Floyd Roberts Cosmetics, lips and tips, so like lipsticks and you know, nail polishes, and you know, so she had a cologne and all this other stuff, whatever. She's there hawking her wares. I'm just there to see Patti, right? But when I get there are all of these platform artists, and they're doing these you know, in-store beauty makeovers and that kind of thing, and that's something I had never seen before, and I was completely mesmerized by it. I was mesmerized by the atmosphere of the women waiting to get their makeup done, you know, the fact that they really wanted this beauty experience, you know what I mean, that was only being provided by, you know, these few select people. So that same day, I walking around the crowd, I ran into Sam Fine. And it was one of those things, you know, when you ask the question about, you know, falling in love with beauty and being aware of beauty growing up in the 90s and growing up, you know, in that experience, it's like when you see somebody that you don't expect to see, you know, I'm there to see Patti, but when I saw Sam, it was literally like a more of an awestruck moment, like, oh, okay, wait, you're here, you know, and recognizing him from, you know, certainly beauty school and reading, you know, all the Black Sophisticated Hair magazines, you know, it's all about how to create the look, and I think it was then that moment that I decided this is what I want to do, you know, I want to be one of those people. I want to be, you know, this guy. I want to be, you know, my own version of, certainly. And I literally went up to the person who was running the event that day, and I introduced myself and told her that, you know, hey, I'm going to work for you. I'm going to be a makeup artist for you. She didn't believe me, but she hired me anyway.
Good. Excellent. Great story. So I know you've worked in quite a few different production. What are the top 4 production you've worked on that you can say you really enjoyed working on?
Having worked on so many different productions, there are quite a few that do stand out for me. Certainly, getting an opportunity to work on Black Panther was an amazing experience. It's a story that needed to be told, and I like the idea of being able to tell our own stories, so many times, in this industry, being a filmmaker, being in the industry, you are a filmmaker, so I think that's important that we call ourselves that. It's important that we, stand in our own truth in our industry. I do think that some of the most important films that I've worked on have been films where I have felt included in that experience, in that filmmaking experience. So working as a department head for films and television, working as a key, or even just day playing, sometimes you get an opportunity to really, really put forth a beautiful, beautiful, experience,
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. What was one of the most memorable part of Black Panther for you?
One of the most memorable things about working on Black Panther was not knowing what the hell is going on the movie. The cool thing about working on these films these days is that there's so much like CGI and special effects that are involved that you're really only a small part of a great machine. So it's really awesome getting a chance to create a makeup or being there in a scene and seeing the whole thing and seeing what's going on, but then you have no idea until you really get there what really is happening when you see it on the day. So it's nice to still be surprised when you go to a film. It's nice.
Good. When you started working in the industry, what star were you most excited to meet for the first time?
Working in film and television, I've got an opportunity to meet a lot of really, really cool, interesting people. Some people, people always ask me the question, well, what celebrities have you worked with? My answer is always, well, that depends on what you call a celebrity. You know what I mean? Like, is a celebrity the person who you see every single day at your grocery store, but now that you see them in a movie, it's like, oh, I know that person. That could be a celebrity, you know what I mean? Or are we talking, I don't know, like, I don't know, somebody else, But having worked with so many really, really cool, interesting people in the industry, I don't like to name names, but I have worked with some really cool people. People that I grew up watching on TV. So for me, like, for instance, a person that I was really, really excited to work with and don't think I realized it until I got there in the room with was Jasmine Guy. Because I grew up watching A Different World. Like, Like, I grew up on that show. So literally getting a chance to, just have a conversation with her and her being, like, completely cool and just, Like, so sometimes it's really, really cool when you get a chance to work with people like that. What I originally started in the industry because I was, by happenstance, Patti LaBelle, blah, 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 right? So recently I worked on, I got a chance to do department head a Hallmark movie, which was actually Hallmark's very first all-black cast, created by, so kudos to that. I'm very, very happy about that they're willing to, help us tell our stories and giving us an opportunity to tell our own stories. So recently I got a chance to work on a Hallmark Christmas movie that Patti LaBelle was in. Right.
Love it.
So it was literally a full circle moment. Like, literally, here we are 22 years later.
Yeah.
22 years later, I did not do her makeup. She had a great makeup artist that she brought with her. But I did have to do some alterations to her nails. So I had to, I got a chance to, paint her nails and just kind of have a little chit chat with her and, about that kind of thing. And so that was really, really cool moment. That was a cool moment. One that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. So in terms of the movie industry in Atlanta, do you think it's a great time for someone who's thinking about relocating to move to Atlanta?
In terms of relocating to Atlanta, for the industry, yes and no. I think it's important to build your nest where you are. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to really, really, figure out what that means for you. I think that sometimes people want to work in the film industry because they think they want to work with celebrities. They think they want to, whatever they think comes along with that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I tell anybody, it's a job. It's a job like any other. You know what I mean? It's a career that, you have to choose for yourself. Nobody's coming to your house, dragging you out and saying, oh, you're going to go put blush on somebody. Yeah. No. You know what I mean? Like you made this choice for yourself. So do it with your whole heart. Do it with your passion and your love. You know what I mean? And if you're doing that wherever you are, you will be recognized. So I think when it comes to in terms of people, chasing the industry, so to speak, I don't recommend that. I don't recommend chasing the industry. I recommend, planting your feet where you are and really, really trying to figure out what your thing is and how to make it work for you. You know what I mean? And if that ends up being in film and television, then great. But it doesn't mean that you're any less of an artist because you don't work in movies. I think that sometimes people get an idea that it's the best people do this, the best people do that, the worst people do this. You know what I mean? And that's not the case. That's not the case. Each career, as I always say, as many makeup artists as there are, it's that many different lanes, to go down. So wherever you find yourself, just do your best where you are.
Yeah, very, very good advice. What would you say is your go-to look? What would your private clients come to you for?
People call me when they know they want to look beautiful, natural, believable, and special. I think that, for me, I think, anybody can put on eyeliner, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. But what is it that you bring to the table, And a lot of times, specifically for me on set, what I'm dealing with is personalities. I'm dealing with set etiquette, which I think is the most important thing that I think people need to learn, before you try to figure out, once you got the basics, the beauty basics down, you know what I mean, that's fine and well, as long as you can match your foundation, and we might be all right. Yeah. But before you start worrying about, trying to get a department head job or trying to be, some fabulous blah, 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 you first need to figure out how to read a room. First of all, this is the most, I'm kind of segueing a little bit here, and I'm sorry, but I want to talk about set etiquette real quickly.
Yes,
because this is the largest question I get asked most often. What can I do in order to be where you are? People ask me that all the time. What can I do in order to be blah, 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 on set, whatever, And I think the thing that people need to learn most is set etiquette. People need to figure out, and when I say set etiquette, I know that seems like a broad, word, but it is, as I heard an AD, that's an assistant director, say one time, and I still use it to this day, don't be weird. Mm-hmm. If you don't know if you're being weird, you're being weird. So I think that's the main thing. Like, so many times we get, and I get it, sometimes you're in an experience that, seems surreal to you. It is a fake world, that we live in. We're creating make-believe, So it's important to realize that you're still a real person in a make-believe world, so you have to act accordingly,
I know you've been doing it for some time now. What are some challenges you faced when you started out?
So some challenges that I faced when I started in the industry, that was 10, 11 years ago. I think it was difficult for people to understand that as a makeup artist, you are capable of all things, and should be capable of all things. I think that sometimes we get pigeonholed into the idea of, well, you look like this, so that means that's what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's important that we let it be known that No, baby, I can do everything. I can do anything. You know what I mean? You know, if somebody says to me, now I had somebody once say to me, I just don't think I like your makeup style. So, well, you know, that's understandable. Everything ain't for everybody, you know, and I totally get that. You know, I totally get that. But I say my challenge is, then you don't know what style you're looking for. Because if you tell me what you want, I can get it to you. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, and that's the idea is that, but I think sometimes, you know, as beauty creators, you know, it is important that we have a vision, you know, and it's also important to try to help your client to maybe realize their own vision. Sometimes they don't always have the best idea for themselves. Sometimes, you know, just like regular human beings, you know, we get caught up in, you know, well, that one time when I went to prom and I wore this beautiful lipstick and everybody all night long told me that this was the best lipstick I ever wore. So I still wear it. No, baby, no. You know, so I think sometimes just like regular people, just like, you know, everyday human beings, we all have our insecurities. We all have those things, you know, that, you know, I think all you're looking at, you know, is the pimple on my chin or something, you know what I mean? And that's the furthest from the truth. So I think, and I learned, this is something that, you know, I think we all learn from each other as artists, and something I certainly learned from Kevin Aquan in a roundabout way, certainly not personally. Was taking that one feature that you think is that thing that, oh, this is the thing that makes me so hideous. That's the thing that makes you special. You know, like, I think that, you know, as the beauty industry moves forward, I hope that we are getting, you know, away from this idea of this cookie cutter image of beauty. You know, there are so many different ways to be beautiful and to express your own beauty. You know, I always say, you know, it's to the way that your makeup should make you look on the outside how you feel on the inside. So if you feel sexy, put on a smoky eye. You know, if you feel, you know, powerful and you want people to see you when you walk in the room, put that red lip on, girl. You know what I mean? Whatever that is that makes you stand out and feel special about yourself, you know, and the place you are in the world. Another quote I always say, makeup cannot change the world, but it can change how you feel about your place in this world. You know, which makes all the difference. It makes all the difference, you know. If you are confident, if you feel good about yourself, then that means you can go out and get that job. You can get that partner. You can get that raise. You can get that whatever it is, you know, as long as you can stand in your own truth and be confident in who you are in the moment, you know, then I think that that works. I don't know what question you asked me in the beginning because I just started talking about something else. But it's all in there, okay?
How much do you think the industry have changed since you started to today?
Okay. Since I started in the makeup industry about 20 years ago, it certainly has changed. You know, the trend is always going to be the case, you know. So, you know, when I first started, it was all about the super thin eyebrow. Now it's about the super thick eyebrow. You know what I mean? So something just that small, you know, but certainly the looks have changed. I think we're doing less of a matte foundation is what you're seeing more so. So less, you know, certainly there are certain beauty trends that have lasted throughout the last 20 years since I started in the industry, okay? Beauty is always going to be beauty, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's you can't reinvent the wheel. You know, it's still got to be round, okay? So I think that as the industry has changed, certainly there's more product available. You know, we certainly have more to do with anything that we want to do. We can create anything now, you know, with makeup, versus it used to be you had to mix and match and try to figure it out, and, you know, well, we'll use this instead of that, you know, which was still fun. You know, that's a lot of fun. But it's nice that we have so many products available to us now to be able to do all the things we want to do. You know? There are a few essential products I think every woman should wear before she walks out the door. Okay. Now, that's not to say that everybody needs makeup, okay? You don't need makeup. But but you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think. I remember back when my sister. I have a sister who is 10 years younger than I am, and I remember when she started wanting to wear makeup. So you start slow, you know. Like I always say, you know, for any woman who says, "Oh, I don't wear makeup. What should I do?" You know, what should I do? "Oh, I don't wear makeup. What should I do?" Mascara, always. Always, always mascara. Okay, it'll help if you can curl your lashes. That'll help. Okay, I think a little blush goes a long way. You know, because it's gonna help you express yourself more. You know, certainly, I like a good groomed brow. You know, but you know. Let's take it all the way back though. The number one thing that you need before you walk out the door is good skin.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
So let's start with skincare. Okay. I think, you know, I know we talk a lot about, you know, cosmetic products and beauty products and what makes us look good and all that. But what makes you look the best is the most confidence. And what makes you feel most confident is how you feel completely naked. And that means having the best skin, living in the best skin that you can. So lots of water, you know, is important. Certainly there are some great skincare lines out there like Urban Effects. Urban RX is really good. Shiseido skincare products are amazing. Certainly Caudalie and, you know, Jack Black even. Like there's so many options, you know, both high and low, you know. So yes, I think the main things that women should be concerned about when they walk out the door is, does my skin look good?
Yep.
Is my mascara on? Do I have a little bit of color in my cheek? You know? And maybe if I'm feeling frisky, a little lip. You know? Just a little, if you're feeling a little frisky, if you're feeling like that, you know.
I love it. So you named a few brands that you like. What are some cosmetic products you have been in love with lately?
Some cosmetic products that I've been in love with lately. I'm always, of course, a big fan of Makeup Forever. As far as a line that can literally take you from 0 to 100 all within a single line, Makeup Forever can do that. At the same time, though, I will say I'm not a person who's all about using only one product, you know, only one brand, you know. I think that it's important to find what works best for you. So I'm a big fan of Bobbi Brown always. Bobbi Brown is my go-to. Kevin Aucoin, certainly. Certainly there's some great, you know, new fun products out there like Pat McGrath. You know, we all love all that kind of, you know, beautiful, you know, shimmer and all that kind of stuff. Danessa Myricks has some great, beautiful makeup out right now. Black Up. Like there's so many options. Like it's hard to name a particular product because it really, for me in my industry, I find that I have to assess the customer when they sit in my chair, you know. And I do say customer because guess what? I'm still there to provide a service, okay? So when that person sits in my chair, I'm deciding, you know, really, is the Becca foundation going to work best, or should I use my Kevin Aucoin? You know, is it Armani is that is my probably number one foundation I go to all the time. Big fan of that. But I'm all about mixing. You know, you gotta mix it up.
Excellent. So I know as a young makeup artist, a lot of people have some misconceptions about the industry. What are some things that you would like to tell them about getting into the industry?
As a makeup artist or as a film?
Makeup artist.
Okay. The biggest advice I can give to any young makeup artist is to know that it's not about you. It's not about you. Okay. You know, yes, do look good when you show up to your client, but if you're spending more time on your own makeup than you are on the client when you get there, then you might need to reprioritize some situations. You know what I mean? Another big point of advice I can give to any young makeup artist is to I guess to pay attention to what's around you. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes it's easy to get caught up in your own, you know, blinders of what is beauty. I think it's important to understand that there are so many different types of beauty and so many different ways to tell that story. When I was a young artist, an industry veteran that I was, kind of shadowing, we were looking at a magazine one day, and I'm flipping through the Vogue magazine, and I'm like, oh, I hate that lipstick. Oh, that looks blah, blah, blah. Oh, her eyeliners, da, da, da. And he had to turn around and say to me, okay, hold on. First of all, that's where you're trying to be. So maybe you need to pay attention to that crooked eyeliner and figure out why it's crooked and why that works. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to get out of our way as far as what we think, is the only way to tell a beauty story. And also, yeah. My advice to any young makeup artist out there would be to get out of your own way, to allow beauty to speak to you in all ways. Like really, keep soaking it in. Learn from every place you can. You can learn from every single person you see. Be aware. I don't care if you're at the Walmart and there's somebody who she has on, whatever you think does not look right. I want you to look at that person and try to figure out what story are they trying to tell, though. Who is this person inside of this? Because once again, you're only looking on the outside how you feel on the inside. So whatever they're looking like, what story is that telling about who they really, really are? Now figure out how that translates to you and your profession. Okay, because working in the industry, I think that a lot of times people don't realize, especially working in movies, is that we're creating an image. We're creating a character here. So it's not about, whether or not that person's pretty. It's not about whether or not that person, whatever that thing is. It's about, is that person believable as that character? And I think that's sometimes where we get a little confused.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know there are a lot of beauty trends out there. Are there any that you like, or why?
There are so many beauty trends out there, right? I appreciate them all. In truth, I try to find whatever that thing is that attracts people about it. It's not something that I necessarily would do in my own career and in my own beauty creations. But I can certainly appreciate it. You know what I mean? If I have a client who she wants, the glow up all over her face, hey,
yeah,
I still get paid the same amount. You know what I mean? Certainly if it's a private client. Now this is the difference. This is the difference between what I do. Because I work in the film industry, once again, I have a duty to tell a story. It's important that I keep in character, that stays the mainstay. Versus if I'm doing a private client, and that private client says to me, I want, blue rimmed eyeliner and that's it and nothing else. I still get paid the same amount of money. Okay? So that's on you. That's on you and your blue rimmed eyeliner. Now I'm going to suggest to you what I think may, not work or what may work better, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's my job to satisfy my client. Now when I'm working in film and television, my client is the studio. My client is the director. My client it has nothing to do with what you think works best on you. I'm sorry. That's the tricky part about, being a department head and a makeup designer when it comes down to creating a character, is that if you're working with an actor who is dead set on this is what I know works for me, and you have a director who is saying, I don't want that on her, period. You know what I mean? You've got to somehow bring those two things together, and still satisfy the client to where they're not sitting in your chair every single day now thinking, God, I hate what he's doing to my face. You know what I mean? And at the same time, be able to keep your job, because at the end of the day, it's the director that you got to satisfy. It's those producers you have to satisfy, so.
Absolutely. If you weren't a makeup artist or in the beauty industry, what do you think you would be doing?
If I were not a makeup artist, what would I be doing? If I weren't a makeup artist, I would probably... I don't know how to answer that question. I know that I would probably still be in the entertainment industry of some sort, just because of that's what I always drew, to as a kid. It's what I know, it's what I know. So I think I would always be in the entertainment industry. And in what aspect? Who knows?
Absolutely. So in the next 5 years, what are those 5 years goals, if you don't mind sharing with us? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself loving myself more. I see myself spending more time with my family. I have a niece and a nephew that I absolutely love and adore, and I don't see them very often at all. So in 5 years, my goal is actually not a professional one, it's a personal one. I would want my life in general to just, be cool. You know what I mean? Like, I think, we spend so much time trying to figure out what's happening tomorrow, and what's going on down the road. And certainly it's okay to set goals. I think, goal setting is very important. But I think it's also important to live in the moment, and I think that we get away from that so much, especially in this industry. We're constantly trying to figure out, we're on the social media. Well, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? Honey. As Oprah says, one of I guess that takes back to another question. But anyway, once upon a time, I got an opportunity to work with a huge celebrity. Okay, I got called for a job, saying, hey, I need you to do this job. Show up at this place. You're gonna do, this A-lister makeup. Okay, well, who is it? Oh, we can't tell you until you sign the NDA, whatever. Okay. So I get to this person's house. I get to actually a local producer. I get to their house, and in walks literally the biggest, celebrity on the planet. You know what I mean? Really. It was an opportunity that I never imagined I would have, but I always dreamed. So, and it's okay. I guess I can say at this point it was Oprah, right? So having an opportunity to, be in the room with people that you never thought you would be in the room with, that you would never, when you sit up and, I used to sit, in the mirror and have my interviews with Oprah in the mirror. Right, right, okay, right. We've all done that, right? Okay, right. You several times, like you can't imagine. I know what I'm gonna say. I know what I'm gonna do. Oh, Zach. Oh, we're gonna laugh at this. Oh, she's gonna be, whatever. Okay, she's already a best friend in my head. So when I had the opportunity to actually be in the room with her, it really was a surreal experience. That moment, that full circle moment of, you asking before about. Celebrities I've worked with, or things like that. I don't think about the individual celebrity per se as much as I think about me being in the room, like, you know what I mean, like being in an experience that I never ever imagined that I would be in. So I try to be aware, to take it in, to soak it in while I'm there. Because I think that's very, very important, and that was a very important lesson I learned, in that moment, and that's something that Oprah always says, is that you can be a better version of yourself than you can, a copy of somebody else. So, back to the original question, that is exactly that. We're so busy trying to figure out what's going to happen 5 years from now. 5 years from now, I just want to, continue to be blessed and successful. I'm so thankful for my career in this industry. I've had more blessings than I ever could have imagined, and done more things than I ever thought were possible. So I just pray for a continued success. I could pray for love and joy in my life. Friends and family. That's it.
Absolutely. So, if you could go back and give your 20-year-old self some advice, what would that be?
If I could go back and give my 20-year-old self some advice, I would say, be on time.
Amen.
That's all.
Yeah.
I'll leave that right there.
All right, so, I know you're very successful. You've had a great career. What are two things most people that just sees you on social media don't know about you?
I think people would be really surprised to meet me and know that I'm a little bit shy, actually. So I think that sometimes people take that as me being standoffish. But in truth, it's just a matter of me, trying to figure out my own bearings in life. I think people would be surprised to know that I really am a very, very, for lack of a better word, I'll say boring, kind of, person. Like, I don't lead a life that is, I think, let me rephrase all this. Sometimes when people see you on social media, they have this impression of who you are in those 15 seconds, I would like for people to know about me that I am, more than that I am, a well-rounded person, that I'm not always out, first of all, of course, but at the same time, I'm not going to be on Snapchat sitting there watching, Netflix. Because guess what? There's nothing exciting about that. Yeah. I think that, when you see me on social media, you only will see when I'm doing something exciting. Sometimes I don't want you to see everything I'm doing. But, but you'll pretty much only see me out and about. Like, you're not going to see me at home just chilling with the dog. Yeah. So I think that people on social media have this idea of, oh, that's who you are all the time, and that's not who I always am. I am just chilling at the house a lot of times, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm not out working, then I'm at home, right? If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
There you go. Amen.
So today is the 9th, right? Today is the 9th of January, right? Today is the 9th of January. And I literally have been chilling for the last 8 days. Today is literally my very first day back at work, so welcome back to work. And then I'll start my new show on next week. So literally, so I say that to say that you haven't seen me on social media for the last 8 days. Why? Because I've been at home, minding my own business. Yeah. So, so I guess that's the thing, is that people think that, oh, you live some grand life, you're always, doing this and doing that or whatever. But in truth, I'm just living like anybody else.
Awesome. Well, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Beauty Block. It's been a great pleasure of mine talking with you and finally meeting you in person.
Finally.
So we definitely look forward to seeing your growth and seeing what happens in the next 5 years for you.
Thank you, Julian, for having me here at the Beauty Block. It's been super exciting. I'm so glad to finally make it to this store. It's absolutely beautiful. Congratulations on all of your success and continued success to you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
And this is where I fall out. Okay, now.